Good evening, all. Gary Gabagool here with my boy Sal. Starting off the Red podcast number 34 with some AC/DC Highway to Hell. And the song we picked was twofold. One in honor of Malcolm Young, the rhythm guitarist and brother of Angus, who passed away at only 64. He had been suffering from dementia, and I think he had Parkinson's disease as well. So our hearts, AC/DC, one of the most iconic bands of all time. I just saw them two summers ago at Giant Stadium, and you had a man who was 70 singing, Brian Johnson, and you had Angus who was 66. Amazing. You guys were running around like a ball of energy, and they're filling about 80,000 person stadium and sounding just like this. It was amazing. It was great. And so AC/DC has always been one of my favorites. So we want to start off the podcast with that. Secondarily, everything that's occurred over the last week. It was start off a quiet week. But like
Happy
everything
Thanksgiving
else.
Too to everybody that had passed.
Exactly.
So we weren't even me and Gary ourselves. We can't even escape liberal lunacy on the holidays. Even us, we have to deal with some liberal fucking craziness.
Yeah. And before we get the podcast started, I want to wish my wife a happy birthday. She's the glue of the family. She's the one who keeps us together. She does all our legwork around here, so we want to thank her and wish her the best. Happy birthday, babe.
Thank you.
We love you. All right. So go ahead, Sal. So Sal's going to tell us a little. Listen, all of us must have had some type of story on Thanksgiving.
Please comment below on your stories too. I want to hear them because he wasn't. I was told that Rachel Maddow is an intelligent person because she's a Rhodes Scholar, and it just it blew me away. Just because she's a Rhodes Scholar. Not how do you get a Rhodes Scholar? You can do anything to get this, not just because you're smart.
Correct.
Like Harvey Weinstein told us, anybody could be a movie star.
Correct.
So
this is my thing. People get hung up on titles. I love this, and they love the fact that somebody went to. I heard a story this week where this girl was a track star, and she went to Princeton, and Princeton, that's a great school, but when she got there, she completely went off the rails, started partying, getting banged up, and she lost her scholarship. And then but she got in, and if you talk to her today, which I never have, but this person did, you hear Princeton on a resume, you're like, wow, this must be a brilliant person. And then when you talk to them, you find out they're a fucking idiot. Just like Rachel Maddow. Let's be honest. Rachel Maddow is very difficult to watch, but even if you see her in her excerpts, she is one of the looniest nut jobs on TV today, bar none.
Without a doubt. I don't know. I was just thinking, I'm trying to correlate it to myself in my school. Like, you pay $50,000 to go to Monmouth.
Right.
You think half those kids are intelligent or smart? I'll tell you right now, they're not. And most of those kids, I'm not even saying that. I'm not impartial to some classes. Maybe just because you pay the money, you get passed. Yeah. It's almost like being in high school.
Of course. They're not going to fail you.
It's ridiculous.
I always use the story of when, I was always involved when I worked in the city. I was always involved with these rich kids. Parents had a lot of money, wanted to get them on Wall Street, wanted to get them in hedge funds, where they make their big money. And that where we were was like the breeding ground of it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But every single kid that I was employed with, except for myself and two others, were all bums. I mean, they went to NYU, Columbia, Princeton, Fordham, Harvard, Yale, you name it, the who's who of colleges in New Jersey and in the country. When you sat with them and talked to them, they were morons because they were given everything in life by their mommy and daddy who lived in a penthouse on the Upper East Side, and they didn't work hard. They came. Meanwhile, myself, my buddy Ralph, who was here, and the only person besides was this Irish kid named Kevin Healy from the Bronx, and he is now the vice president of Mercedes-Benz. The three of us were the only three that didn't deal with any of that shit. We all came from lower middle class families and struggled. I think I went to Rutgers. He went to SUNY, and I think Kevin went to he paid his way through Pace or something, and which isn't a shitty school, but still not top echelon. And it all came down to the work you put in and how you want to learn. It had nothing to do where you went to fucking college. And we say this all the time. So for someone to say Rachel Maddow, because she was a Rhodes Scholar, is brilliant or so intelligent is comical. I'll take somebody with street smarts over that shit any day of the week.
And they were doing it while bashing all of like the Fox News. I could care less about that, but I'm just saying, like, you're just doing it to try to justify your beliefs and like your liberalism. It's disgusting.
Well, I just listen to her talk. I don't think I've ever heard her say one intelligent thing. And of course I don't watch her a lot, but even when I just see her on any type of clip or excerpt from her show, she's always saying something loony. And the thing I guess that stands out in my mind most about her, which we probably all know, is her prediction of Hillary winning.
And then her attacks or whatever.
Yeah, and then Donald Trump losing and her making fun of Trump for even running. Said he was going to get blown out, landslide, blah, blah, blah. And then you saw her the next day having like a conniption on TV, flipping out as one of these people with like Trumpitis. Like she was having this Trump syndrome.
She was one of the screamers.
She was kind of a screamer, but that was the funny part. But
that was Thanksgiving.
That was Thanksgiving. but we also
it was also a really good meal.
It was a good meal. But I gotta say, it's funny because all of you out there must have had some type. If you got a gathering of more than 8 people, you're gonna have people that with various interests. But I found it funny, and I don't know if Sal remember this, but in the group that we were, there was probably about, I'd say maybe there was like 15 of us, and there probably was around 12 conservatives, about 3 liberals. And as soon as we sat down, we had just gotten there within a half hour. The one liberal of the group was basically throwing in his 2 cents on stuff, and so I just sat there and kind of laughed because it was.
I didn't engage.
Yeah, we didn't engage. We heard it, but we didn't engage. Yeah. However, we have a cousin who is very conservative, and he proceeded to make sure that he would always ask our opinion on Trump.
Yeah.
And he was doing it. He was
doing it right in their face.
Yeah,
I loved it.
So this is a shout out to you, cousin Frank, because you're the
and his boy.
Yeah, and his son, who did a great job. Danny did a phenomenal job ripping these people to shreds. But cousin Frank is the ultimate ball buster, which I love.
Yeah.
He just the best. He's the best. He makes me laugh, and he's great. And he's the one that after dinner he said, "Are we going to air out our grievances like Seinfeld and stuff?" So it was just funny. But that was the day. Even though it was a good meal, like you could just see these things happening. And I bet you it never got heated because if it did, forget it, the shit would hit the fan. But I bet you in some instances there's some of you deplorables out there who got heated.
Tell me, I want to hear some of these stories.
Yeah, I want to hear these things.
I know they have.
These Thanksgiving Day tribulations to insanity would be great to hear, but I know they got to be there. But with that being said,
let's get into some news.
Last week, a lot of people asked us about Vegas. We really didn't talk about it, and there really hasn't been much said.
It's kind of like them trying to keep it under wraps.
Exactly, which is it's kind of scary now. It's over 2 months, and we found that every mass shooting in history, what's occurred, and for some strange reason, nothing has been said. No buttons have been pushed. No envelopes have been opened. Nothing. And so I did some research on my own, and some of this stuff may be speculation, but Anonymous, who, if you people don't know who Anonymous is, he's one of the best computer hackers in the world.
Yeah, it's like a group of them.
Yeah, it's a group of them. The guy in his group of married men or women are brilliant, and they come out. But this could be, now I'm not sure of the legitimacy of this, but I guess like everything else in Vegas, everything is speculation and ideas of what happened. And I guess they found, Anonymous and his group found, that this Saudi prince, Al-Walid bin Tahal, right now he's hanging upside down. It's not funny, but I guess it is. He's hanging upside down in some Saudi jail getting interrogated and probably tortured. But for some reason, in this torture, they have basically a writing that they printed out that I saw, admitting that he sent Royal Air Force snipers to Mandalay Bay. And on the top floor of Mandalay Bay, the first, I think, 4 floors, it's called the Four Seasons, which is like top floor. It's a VIP. And he owns that with Bill Gates, which I find that to be completely ironic and rather weird that a prince of Saudi Arabia is buddies with Bill Gates.
Yeah, and while Bill Gates is trying to plan his own city out in the desert, look that shit up, guys.
Yeah, he is. And Sal talked about that. But in addition, I found out that this year alone, Bill Gates gave $1 million to anti-gun laws, like a lobby group. And I think in the past he's given a lot as well. So over the course of years, he's given, I think, over $15 million to anti-gun. So that's kind of weird. And then another thing that's strange was that there's a company called S&K Technologies, which is in charge of helping out these Saudi men who are on these top floors. They're living there now, and they're doing desert operations, and the logistics are being covered by this S&K Technologies, which is an American company. So all these things added up. I'm not saying, I mean, we know we heard about the black helicopters flying. What he built, what this guy, Saudi Prince Al-Walid bin Tahal, said was that he basically designated snipers, the Saudi Royal Air Force snipers to Menlay Bay to partake in this. Now, he was getting tortured, but my thing is, well, the guys who were torturing him, whether they care about it or not, I'm not sure. I don't know who was in the room with him at the time. Could have been Americans, could have been Saudis. I don't know who it was, but it was just strange that this is what he said under duress. So that's something that kind of raised a flag in my brain, and then also the fact that he's friends with George Soros as well. Yeah. So all these global elitists all hang out together, which is kind of frightening. And these are the same individuals that are having sex with the underage hookers, or movie stars that are getting. It's a very creepy scenario going on out there with these guys.
And it's all coming to heed now.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, out in the open, all their scumbag shit. Well, I'm going to go a little deeper into that mentality of theirs. And what I heard today, it really made sense to me, that liberals want equality of outcome instead of equality of opportunity. Like, it was always equal opportunity this, equal opportunity that. Right. Everyone should have an equal opportunity in things, which is I highly agree with.
Yep.
But it morphed into equality of outcome to them, which is basically
don't put in the work and you get the same as everybody else.
It's whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like it's socialism.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nonsense. And I saw something else this week that really, really caught my eye. They're estimating that in the next 10 years that over 4,000 universities, small colleges, they're all going out of business.
That's good.
In 10 years. 4,000 of them.
Yep.
In this country.
Yeah, there's too many colleges anyway. Because now college has become another high school. Like, even people who did poorly, people who do poorly in high school, we know who they are, went to college. And I'm like, why? Why the fuck would you go to college? Go learn a trade. You didn't like high school. What makes you think you're gonna like another 4 years of this bullshit? I just don't get it. Now, every parent feels like their kid has to go to college. It doesn't make any sense. If you weren't a good student in high school, I highly doubt you're gonna do well in college. Matter of fact, your probability of failure is probably over 90%. If you have no guidance, you're gonna probably not do well in college. Just because if you're not, I don't know. I don't feel like, why do you have to go? I don't get it. Like, I think parents just force their kids to go. Like, you got to go to college.
I think it was more about they want them to have the college experience.
Maybe.
But now the college experience is like, it's so childish, and like, it's not really an experience.
Like, I had no experience. I had a bullshit experience.
You're going to get a better experience you can stay at home and get a better experience than doing what they do at college. Like, that's why you see it rampant all across the Midwest right now. They're canceling Greek life. I don't know if you saw that, because all the fraternal hazings,
going nuts.
All the craziness
that's been going on forever.
Yeah, but now it's like coming. Now everyone's like dying. Now the goal is to like kill a pledge.
Right.
That's like the actual goal. Like, so dumb.
Well, I mean, I went to Rutgers in Newark, and for all you people out there, I know there's some of you out there that went there with me. We had no life. I called it advanced high school. That's all it was. I mean, we went to class, we came home, we went to work every fucking day. That's what we did. And there was no partying in Rutgers, Newark. There was no hanging out in Rutgers, Newark. When it got dark, you got the hell out of there, because it was a shithole, and that's what you did. So I don't really see.
But I love how they phrase it, out of business. 4,000 colleges, out of business.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's a business. They're not trying to give higher learning experiences to anybody. They don't care.
All it is that's what I find funny, is that all of these groups of universities are all anti-capitalism, but they all rape. They just spray out the socialism agenda, and then like that's the thing I also want to tell people. I have this circled on my paper. It's estimated. There's a guarantee 25 million people have died due to socialism, but there's estimations that over 100 million have died in the past. There's definitely over 100 million
in the past 100 years. Just the past 100 years.
Yep. Well, people, let me explain something to you. Do your research. if you talk to people in the history.
And this is what they want.
Right.
So what do they think is going to happen when it comes back? That we all live in utopia? No, we all die again.
Exactly.
The millions of us and millions of us die.
Well, that's why they want to disarm you. And it's funny, people, because if you ask people about the worst person of all time, 99 out of 100 people will probably say Hitler. Deservedly so. However, if you do your homework and do your research, Stalin and Mao make Hitler look like Sea League.
Yeah.
They killed hundreds of millions of people, and they were brutal. I mean, Hitler, of course, is no poster boy for goodness, but those guys don't even get talked about, and they were way worse than Hitler. That Hitler just happened to strike the bone of America because he came at us, and he got involved. We had to go to Normandy and
well, they didn't. It's not like they. It's not like that's what people don't understand too about the Holocaust. They think Americans knew it was going on.
Right.
They didn't know the Holocaust was going on until they got there.
Exactly.
They didn't know that was happening.
Right. And he was a ball buster. He was getting out. He was getting.
And then when they saw that, it's kind of like the over the edge type deal.
Yeah.
Then you got to.
But this is the thing that and Sal's right. Like they killed millions upon millions of people.
And they let everyone know about it.
Yep. And so that's where the useful idiots comes in, that the term that they use for liberals, useful idiots. And why do you think disarming America is so important? Because that's the first thing Hitler did to the Jews. He disarmed them. And once you're disarmed, you have no defense against anything or anyone that's trying to take you down.
Yeah, like I was thinking about the other day, like when people say, how could it be possible? What could be that? Now think about it. You're disarmed. They just send a Humvee, 4 soldiers down your block, all with what do you do to stop them from going in each and every house and just murdering everybody? Nothing. You do nothing. And that's what would happen.
Exactly. And people, this was not so long ago. People. Sometimes I hear people like when Sal just mentioned, people say, I mentioned that to people like, no. They think this is like 500 years ago. It was less than 100. Think about it, people. It was like between 1938 and 1948, 10 years where we had, that was 70 years ago. Exactly, 70. It's not that long. It's one person's lifetime. A lot of people on this podcast watching, their fathers fought in that war. My father did. So it's not that long ago. Some people are still alive from that war. So obviously it can happen again. And so disarming is a horrific idea. If you're not for the Second Amendment, you're a fucking asshole, because basically that's what they're looking to do. They are looking to set the plate so that somewhere down the line, if their progressive agenda makes to where they want to, we're screwed.
Yeah. They just turn the tides on everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. That was a great point, though, about the universities, because that's another thing.
Well, that's where it gets indoctrinated. And that's the other thing. People don't leave university now with an education. They leave indoctrinated.
Correct.
There's nothing good is coming out of what they're learning. They're just getting indoctrinated into this idea that sets them off and down this path of hell.
Yeah, it's weird. Now, Sal can talk about this much better than I, because back in the day when we went to college, and people are my age, we got taught stuff. And if you went to you had to take the mandatory liberal arts courses to get through, so they could justify this piece of shit having a job. Otherwise, nobody would ever take it if they didn't have to. They forced you. That's where you saw the liberalism back in my day. But now I think in colleges today, history doesn't teach history anymore. They don't. Math doesn't teach math. Like, these people are on their own radical left agendas. You have very few basically conservative professors. And I just read the teachers unions in colleges and the teachers unions in high schools give like 99.4% of their money, which is lots, to the Democratic Party. Now, how is that even feasible? That should be outlawed, because now it's no longer, they're basically telling their constituents, whether you're conservative, independent, or liberal, you're giving your money that you pay to a Democratic. That's not right. It should be outlawed. It's kind of like a PAC, like a big PAC
like
group.
Super PAC.
A super PAC. Exactly what it's like. They should stop that as well for the teachers.
They probably will. That's why all these.
And the police.
That's why it's all going out of business.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad that it's even a business. That's it. All right.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is there was a show on Sundays. It's been around for a long time. It's called Meet the Press, and it used to be a very reputable show back in the day. It's been on since the 70s. And I used to watch it almost every Sunday until probably the last 4 years when it's gone completely rogue and gone liberal like the rest of the media. But now they have a guy named Chuck Todd on who he's not the worst offender of this, but he's not a champion of true journalism, you know. But I watched it this past Sunday and I got a kick because Nancy Pelosi was on. And the only thing I could think of is at 9 in the morning or 10 in the morning, Nancy Pelosi was probably doing some of her, you know, Adderalls or some of her Oxys and washed them down with.
She can't be mixing those.
Yeah, and she's washed them down with some vodka because it was comical. And this is what she said. They mentioned everything about all the you know, stuff going on in politics, and she mentioned that Bill Clinton, John Conyers, who's out of Detroit, he's 88 years old. He just got outed by 4 women. They asked him to step down. Al Franken and Bob Menendez. All 4 of these gentlemen are either they were indicted. They haven't been convicted because it wasn't criminal cases, but they were indicted. There's proof of their wrongdoing. Al Franken has pictures. John Conyers, there was he admitted guilt.
They've all admitted.
They all admitted to
guilt.
Even
Franken admitted to it.
And when they admitted to guilt, they didn't really apologize for it. They just kind of said, you know, we could have done it. You know, they kind of said it half-assed. But so they say all that, and the caveat to this Meet the Press that was the funniest was Nancy Pelosi, in her stumbling, bumbling way, went on about how the American judicial system has to work on not accusing people, but they have to have proof before you can make judgments and bring down, you know, resignations, terminations, and criminal charges. So that's what she says. Now let's fast forward to what we just mentioned. Now she brings up Donald Trump and Roy Moore, and she calls them both. She called them both. She said Donald Trump has horrific experiences with women that they don't trust him, and that Roy Moore was a child. They didn't call her a child molester. She called him a weird name. It was like a whatever she called him. She called her like a predator, a little girl predator or something. And it's funny because if you look on this, Roy Moore and Donald Trump basically are guilty of nothing except accusations. So you're listening to her, and Chuck Todd went at her a little bit, but he didn't go at her hard enough, and she kept stumbling her way through it. And then the funny part was that the other panelists kind of either said nothing or agreed with her. And so that is by far liberal lunacy to the nth degree.
Yeah, and a lot of it, I saw she was victim shaming.
Yes.
All the women.
Well, that's perfect. That's great. I was just going to say that because by doing what she's doing,
yeah,
she's shaming the victim and downplaying them.
Yeah, like they're not serious. Like their accusations aren't serious. Right. When all they say on, you know, today they say this, tomorrow they say you have to listen to the victims and everything that they say.
Yeah, and by doing think about this, people. She's the highest female position in the Democratic Party. She is basically now by doing what she's doing, she will make it difficult or challenging for women to come out against these politicians who really have been abused. Yeah. Because she actually, like Sal said, she shamed them in the media. She said that that is a disgrace. I thought that, how come it didn't come out on the front page of all the newspapers? Nancy Pelosi, supposed champion for women, shames victims. If that was a Republican, forget about it. This is what I'm saying. And
blames the victims.
Blames the victims for the rape and the guy coming out with no pants on saying, "Grab my Johnson." They're what do you call it? They're blaming the women.
They're asking for it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how they get away with what they get away with. And it's funny because I don't care about, we talk about this all the time. We don't care about political parties. There's a congressman, a senator out of Texas named Joe Barton. Two people came out against him that he was guilty of this stuff. Fire him. I don't give a shit. Fire him. If he did it, get rid of him. But the one thing you can't do is just come out because someone said so. And all these people mentioned, it wasn't said, it was proven. And she had the nerve. This Pelosi had the nerve. The DNC has a group of loonies out there. They got Pelosi, Feinstein, Maxine Waters, Frederica Wilson, Sheila Jackson Lee. That's like, and then they have Chuck Schumer. Then they have Rahm Emanuel. I can go on and on the amount of nut jobs, Elizabeth Warren, that the DNC has. all crazy, lunatic people. These are the kind of people, if they came to your Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday of last week, we would have said our crazy aunt or uncle's coming. And that's them. There are senators. They're making decisions on tens and hundreds of millions of dollars every day in policy. And you assholes in your respective states keep voting them in. John Connors is 88 years old. He could barely stand up straight. He's still, before he resigns, the guy drove Detroit single-handedly, him and his cronies, into the dump. If it was one of the richest cities in America to one of the poorest. And he's still there 50, 60 years later. It's disgusting.
That's insane. Great, though. So, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention. Obviously, you guys have. I can't speak for the television news, but I know in the print media you've seen the change. They've turned on Hillary and Bill. They've done a 180 on these two people. They were the saviors last year, and this year they're the Satans. So, according to Roger Stone, you guys may hate him, you may love him. I don't know. How do you feel about Roger Stone?
I don't really have a feeling on him either. I can't lie, I don't listen to him a lot. But yeah, he's never said anything that really upset me or anything.
Sometimes he does get some stuff other stuff he's kind of way off base, or it never comes to fruition. So it's just like, what is he even talking about?
Correct.
But he said the whole reason for the Clintons going down right now, the ringleaders and the grand masters behind it all, are Barack and Michelle Obama.
I have no doubt about that.
That they're gonna take their power spots is what they're trying to do.
They want to replace them.
They want to replace them. Yeah, they're just trying to slide Barack and Michelle into the Hillary and Bill spot.
Listen.
But it's got it's the Clintons though are like they're gonna cling on with every last breath they have.
Well, listen, with all due respect to the Muslim and Michelle, they don't have the stones to play with the Clintons. I'm sorry. They don't
start dealing with dirtiness.
Listen, if this is going to be great, I want to tell you something. What I think they should do, we talked about this several podcasts ago. This would be funny. But put them in a WWE ring.
No, there's some and that's now we can. It's funny, but it's also kind of serious.
Yeah,
they're allying people to pit against each other. There's a little underground war going on between those two power couples.
Yeah, well, I could see it. I mean, you could just look at Michelle Obama, and she is not a nice person. I'm sorry. I never thought about it. You could just tell she's a racist. That's my feeling.
Yeah, no, you can tell.
He's just a pansy ass.
If she's not, she's a race baiter.
Yeah, she's a race baiter. And Barack Obama, to me, is just a weak, noodly looking. Listen,
they couldn't have found a better figurehead than him.
He's a figurehead.
A little just go up there, puppet, robot, say what we want you to say, smile, and wave, and that's that. I
mean, he reminds me. And I'm not saying this because he's half black, but he reminds me of Charlie the Chimp. He's got the round head, the monkey ears, and he smacks those cymbals.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I didn't understand it at first. Now I got you. Yeah, that toy.
Yeah, toy. That's what he is, because he never talked about one. I go back to his speeches. In 8 years, he talked about the economy once. He never talked about anything of any substance. It was always this fluff. And the media let him get away with it. So or he'd come on, he would say his speech that he read off the teleprompter. He wouldn't allow any questions. People don't realize President Trump lets all these idiots ask any question they want, and then he cuts them off finally when they're annoying after a while. If you go back and watch, Barack Obama hardly ever had free questions, and when he did have them, he selected he would select that person to ask. And it was already asked and answered already. He probably had the question. He already had the answer. I will guarantee it, without a doubt.
100% believe that. When do we? So all in all, the Obamas are trying to push.
That would be interesting. I would like to see that televised. I'd like to see that like in the news media.
I would pay $100 for that pay-per-view.
I would.
That would be amazing.
Even like a wall out debate or brawl, that would be great.
No, at least with a chance for physical contact.
Oh yeah. Well, they're all four. Well, Michelle Obama would probably house all three of them. She's pretty jacked.
Would. I think
she's a monster. But she's young. They're in their 50s.
The 80s.
Bill and Hillary are old. But Hillary, what she would do? She would hire a bodyguard to come out, some big animal to like destroy because that's what she could do. Because listen, you know, Obamas can't hold the money. They pissed away all the DNC money. They needed Hillary, like Sal said. They needed Hillary to come in and save their asses from bankruptcy. So that's
now they're pushing them out, taking the money.
Well, oh my God, it's almost sound like I like Hillary, but I hate her guts. I would like to see them all be self-destruct.
Oh, to be honest with you. Funny. We talked about Amazon and how Bezos is doing the Washington Post and all that.
Yeah, man.
Before we came on, there was a breaking video from Project Veritas exposing the Washington Post that I didn't get the chance to watch. I'm going to, after the show, we'll talk about it.
It's a great segue.
Yeah.
Sal, we both have this uncanny ability because I was just going to talk about something that has to do with the Washington Post, so it's interesting. But George Soros has a very liberal group called Democracy Alliance. And these guys meet 2 to 3 times a year, secret meetings, and they've paid billions to a bunch of other groups to keep the progressive liberal agenda moving forward, and they've been very successful. Well, it was found that there is a reporter named Janelle Ross, and her boss is named Marty Barron from the Washington Post, so it was perfect segue from Sal. They both was been proven to be paid a great deal of money to stick to their agenda every day in the newspaper. And it's funny because I went back. I didn't know who Janelle Ross was, but I went back because we have, obviously here in New York, New Jersey, we don't get the Washington Post. But I went online, and she calls herself an unbiased reporter. And it's almost like we talk about. It's like that transference. It's like she has to tell you that she's unbiased because she's really as fucking biased as can be. So in this group, it was found that she's paid almost more than the salary she makes at the Washington Post to report for and do exactly like this Democracy Alliance and George Soros says, as well as all these other global elitists. So the Washington Post, and it's probably what James O'Keefe is going to expose.
But this is what I saw, which I kind of alarmed me. Did you know the government subsidizes $1.46 for every box that Amazon sells? That kind of blew me away when I knew that. I was like, wow, how did they work?
Was it a CIA thing?
How did they work that deal out? They didn't get into it. At least I didn't read it.
Wow, are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. And it's from a legit source. $1.46 for every box they sell, which obviously equates to trillions.
Well, the box is basically free, no?
Oh, a cardboard box?
Yeah, what is it, like 2 cents?
Yeah. They're getting $1.46 for each box.
How the hell did he work that deal?
So I want to look into that further, but I read it today.
I never heard of that.
I was like, whoa, that's a lot of money.
Who cut that deal?
Exactly. Who cut that deal? That's what I want to, obviously, some Obama administrative type.
Wow.
Because I wouldn't think that just happened.
No. That has to be an Obama thing.
Yeah. But I
did not know that.
That's why I read it today, too. It just blew me away.
Wow. Holy shit, Bezos is, now I know why he's so successful.
Rich people, rich beyond belief.
He's going to be the #1 richest guy in the world soon, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I think he already is. I think he overtook.
Yeah.
Did he? Maybe not. I'm pretty sure he did.
The #1 guy was this guy, he's got a crazy name, Slim. Something Slim out of Carlos Slim out of Mexico. He was the #1 richest guy. But that was last year. But I think Bezos has to be up there, along with with these other guys. That do Microsoft and shit like that, Bill Gates. But
wow.
Speaking of, there was something that wasn't reported at all. We always get into like the craziness, but this was a great thing. And President Trump spoke with Tyson Foods, the guys who make chickens. And in Tennessee, they agreed to put a $300 million new manufacturing factory, which is going to create 1,500 jobs. So people, there's a constant theme in this that the president is getting no accolades for. It's not even getting any talking points on, which I find so hard to believe that you have a president that's doing all these great things in the economy and nothing's being mentioned. They're talking about, how much water he drank on his interview, how many scoops of ice cream he has. Then they're also talking about that his publicist made a Thanksgiving Day pecan pie, and what wasn't really her pie, she's a liar. This nonsense that we have to listen to on a daily basis from these journalists who are 10 rungs below TMZ. These, when you watch TMZ, you see all those clowns sitting in like their chairs and they're all talking. That's basically a high-end journalism report compared to what the Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, because this is what they're reporting on. Even those people talk about more important stuff than the shit that CNN brings up and CNBC. Who gives a shit if Donald Trump was on camera and drank water? It's mind blowing how much negativity these people spew, and they don't talk anything about this. This was great. A lot of good things. Sal's going to talk about it because he's going to give his viewpoint because it's pretty on point. About Donald Trump today had the code talkers, the Navajo code talkers in the White House. Don't know if you saw it. It was amazing, and Sal's going to talk about it. I'm going to give you my point of view.
So, like, I was telling Gary today, I don't know if you guys saw it today. I follow the White House on YouTube, so I always get live notifications and all this stuff. It said Trump something or other with the Navajo code talkers at the White House. I was like, I don't know. Why would I want to watch this? I usually don't watch any of that stuff. I don't watch any of the Sarah, whatever her name is, press briefings. I don't watch any of that stuff. But today I just was like, all right, I'm going to watch this. And then it just proceeded. I tuned in perfect timing, and it was just some older Navajo Indian gentleman speaking with Trump, and they had their backs to the camera, and then Trump was like, yeah, say a few words. So this 90-year-old Navajo Marine gentleman walks up to the microphone and just lays out this beautiful story in about 10 minutes, and he lays out what they did for the war, how they helped, how some of the people he knew, fell in battle. It was really eloquent, and you think, wow, 90 years old, this guy is really with it. It was unbelievable, and it really I actually got a little teary because the guy was speaking right from the heart. Trump even got up afterwards at the end of the speech. He's like, wow, you nailed it. You nailed it 100 times. Like, he's like, I can't even say what my speech now because it doesn't even do you justice. So he just kind of gave him his speech. He's like, hold on to it, forever, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we can get into him ripping Warren in a second. Yeah. But first, I just wanted to say how great it was just to listen to those guys talk.
Yeah, and this is, and I want to build on what Sal said. This is why I love President Trump. And we always talk about this. Other than he's the president, obviously, and he's got lots of money, this guy is just like us. I'm telling you, if you don't believe me, watch this speech, because just like Sal said, he gets in there, and there was a 90-year-old gentleman, an 88-year-old gentleman, and a 100-year-old gentleman. And so these guys, and what was shocking, and Sal was actually, it couldn't have been any more distinct on. This 90-year-old man was so eloquent. He was dropping dates, like he was talking about. I've never heard, you're used to 90-year-old people kind of stuttering and kind of having trouble with their memory and saying, oh, I don't remember. This guy talked for 10 or 11 minutes. It wasn't rehearsed, and he nailed it. It was brilliant. And Trump just sat there and was like, oh, my God. And then he went ahead and said how great him and his people are, that there was 29 of them, and I think out of 29, there's only 3 left. And, he congratulated every one of them. He put his arm around them. He thanked them profusely. And then he went to a couple of the generals. Yeah. And Kelly, they gave their synopsis on how great the code talkers were and how brave they were and, all that great stuff. And then, like Sal said, he mentioned that they were real Navajo Indians, unlike Pocahontas. And personally, this is why I love him, because
it was great.
People may say he takes a cheap shot, but I look at it this way.
It was perfect timing.
It was perfect timing. And I think he did it on purpose. It was a premeditated strike against Elizabeth Warren, because he knew if he mentioned her name in this, that the first thing she would do was he would tee it up for her, and she would take that swing and miss and say that he was a racist. And if you watch, and I guarantee you, she did not watch that press conference, because if she did, there was no way all he did was have nothing but outstanding, great comments about not only these three men and respect, but their culture, their people, and what they did for this country, and the great Americans that they were. They all fought in the military. So she stepped in that bear trap, and once again, that thing went crank down on her leg, and she's looking like the fool that she is. And she is a fool. She's a fool.
Yeah, how could he be, how could it be?
It was hilarious.
Did you hear what was spoken, what was said? You can say it all you want. That just means you didn't listen.
Well, I think she actually said he's racist against the Indian culture, which is hilarious, or Native American culture, which is hilarious, because
those 3 Navajos.
No, everything, and they loved him. Yeah. Matter of fact, the one guy, I think the 88 or 90-year-old guy, he was the chairman for the Native Americans for Trump.
Yeah.
And so she didn't even know what she was talking about, but we could talk about it once, we'll talk about it twice, a million times. Donald Trump plays these people.
Sets them up.
He sets them up so well
to make them just look. He wants to make them look like fools.
And they do it. They do it. And they do it so easy. Sal and I. The first thing Sal came in from dinner. Sal came in from work. So G and I are at the dinner table waiting for the pizzas to get made. The homemade pizzas she made that were delicious. Sal walks through the door. We look at each other. First thing you say is, "Did you see what he set her up?" And then we start laughing. We're like, he does it every time, and they don't stop. It's almost to a point where it's unfair because he's way too smart for them. It's like you know what would be unfair with it, and I don't mean this in a. I guess I'm going to mean this in a bad way, but it's almost like when you have a little brother or sister and they're naive, and you just set them up and they do everything you tell them because you're older and smarter. Or you're the kid in school who has that mentally. I know this is terrible to say, but you have the mentally challenged kid and you just kind of goof on him, and he does. That's what these people. He does it every time. He pulls their strings, and they just go nuts.
Yeah, they're little puppets. He's
great.
It's so funny. Yeah, there's so many analogies we can get into and just keep ripping, but it's too good. It's so funny. But
she doesn't know when to shut up,
no.
And she can't help herself. The one thing about Democrats is they need the ability to talk. And even if they don't know what they're talking about, instead of like a normal person like me, you, or Sal, if you don't know something, you're like, you know what, I really don't know that, or I don't really follow that. Instead, they don't, because they think they're morally and intellectually superior. They feel like they're experts on everything. So even if they don't know what they're talking about, they got to come out and pontificate some bullshit. Like, and you know they're bullshitting you. You know it.
Oh yeah.
And they come out like, oh, that's horrible, or President Trump's a racist. Like, You don't even watch what the guy said. If you saw, there would be no possibility you can even come to the conclusion that he's racist against Native Americans.
They'll just say things that, like, they know everybody likes a certain thing, so they'll go against it. Like,
correct, yeah.
What, you like that Christmas that day? That was a pagan holiday. They'll just say something stupid to you like that. Like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and speaking of, last thing I was saying, this is probably a very ancillary thing, but Melania and President Trump are putting back the nativity scene that President Muslim Obama and Michelle took off.
Did you see she had the little kids there in school today? They're like, she looks like an angel.
She does. You know what? How many kids were there? Every little boy's home in love.
Yeah,
telling her she looks like an angel. Exactly. So that's funny. Great though. Yeah. But she does. I mean, look at her. I mean,
the way they had her come down. I don't know if you saw the pictures of it. It was they had her like dressed up, almost looking like an angel.
The only thing I got to mention this, and we can get off it, but just think about people how whacked out the media is. One day, I don't read People magazine, but one day I'm in line at the grocery store and I noticed I'm sitting there that they have those magazines there. They named Michelle Obama the most beautiful person in the world. and that's exactly it. Actually, when I read it, I laughed out loud. Like, I laughed out loud, and the person in front of me goes, "Is everything okay?" I'm like, "Can you believe this?" I don't know if they were looking at it. I was laughing out loud. And Melania Trump, they make fun of her looks. It's or the way she speaks. It is comical. Comical.
They just can't handle it. They can't handle
comical as shit. It's really funny.
Just so ridiculous. I had one bit of funny news. I just wanted to get
into something funny. Then I got something.
But guys, we always kind of we give these people their respect and all that, but we kind of rip them too at the same time. Did you see the new LGBTQ call signals today?
I do not.
I wanted to wait to tell Gary for the show.
I do not know what it is.
It's
legit.
This is legit. It's unofficially official, but this is what they're thinking about changing to. Now, bear with me because I might stumble over this. L G G B D T T T I Q Q A A P is going to be the new LGBTQ.
Wait, let me read. Wait, L G G B D T T T I Q Q Q A A P. P?
Yes.
What the?
Exactly. I didn't bother getting into each and every one.
Wait a second. This actually stands for this.
These are all genders or something. L G G B D T T T I Q Q A A P. Those all stand for something.
I gotta find out what this is. They can't be real.
When I read it, I couldn't believe it. No, it is real. I swear to you. It's not official. They didn't change it yet, but that's what they're trying to change it. Yeah, it's like 30 things.
It's 16 letters.
16.
Well, what could it possibly be? There's gay men, gay women, transgender. What else?
It's gonna get into all kinds of Yeah, pedo might be the last one.
Holy moly!
But
we got to find this out.
It's gonna be like cis this,
yeah,
anti that.
No, yeah, we got
is quant. I don't know.
Yeah, we got to. This is something we got to look into.
I just wanted to let people be aware of this because it's crazy to me.
Holy moly! It took up my whole page on the paper because I wrote it down. Wow.
LGGBDTTTIQQAAP.
Yeah, this is pretty funny. We're gonna have to address this.
Yes,
and do some research.
If it comes to fruition and they actually change it to that, I'll die.
There's something, and now we're gonna go from joking. This I gotta.
All right, well, I'm not serious.
Go ahead.
Right? No, you. That's all I have.
But I want.
I'm not serious.
There's something that I just don't get, and this is not a topic that's new to anybody, but I just don't understand how you can have individuals in this country, whatever their affiliation is with their political party, how you can still have the need and if you're actually sincere, I got to check your brain, but how you can have refugees from the Middle East coming here, I just don't get, because, I mean, all over the world, it is a shit show. Matter of fact, in America, we're probably having the least amount of problems, but, I mean, this past week in Egypt, ISIS just went into a mosque and they killed all these, this religion, this type of
peaceful Muslim.
Yeah, they're peaceful Muslim religion.
I didn't know there was such a thing.
There was a peaceful Muslim. They don't believe in jihad. They just went in.
That's what it was.
Yeah, they don't believe in jihad. They just went in and killed 235 people in Egypt. Now, here's what bothers me. These are the people we need to be defending. The people the good Muslims who stick up for wanting normalcy in their lives, raising their families and not wanting this insane radical Islam. Instead, they end up dead. And listen, people, you can look up and you can go back, and it's probably 20,000, but I'll just, for argument's sake, I'll say 10,000. The last 10,000 terror attacks in the world, 9,998 have been from radical Islam. And that's a fact. You can look it up. And as you go back, you can go back dated, and you see them who did it. It was all Islam. We basically had, and what you consider a terrorist attack is what happened like in France with a guy with a truck. What happened in New York? People just acting Allah Akbar and going nuts. There's very few that are people just going out. Less than 5 where people are going out and aren't somehow affiliated with radical Islam in the last 20 years or since 9/11.
Even today, ISIS dropped their propaganda.
Right?
Did you see it?
Yeah.
It was the New York Times.
Yeah.
New York's whatever.
Yeah.
Times Square.
Times Square. Yeah. They said something against the Pope or the Catholic Church for Christmas. They're going to probably go into. Just have so much radical stuff going on. It boggles my mind when I hear Americans, and then the part that bothers me is the addendum to that is that we're not taking care of our military. I don't know if you heard the story. It happened here in New Jersey. There was this gentleman. He was a paramedic from the South. He came up to Philadelphia, South Jersey area for a job, and the job fell through. So he had no money on him, and so he had a car. So he sold his car. He didn't get a lot of money, and he was living on the street. Well, this girl was coming home, I think 2 days before Thanksgiving or something, or whatever it was. She was coming home, and she ran out of gas. And like most women, she wasn't carrying any money, and she had no way. So this homeless man came up to her and said, "Here, lock yourself in your car." And she said, "I have no money." He says, "I panhandled for $20 today," and he went ahead and he got her gas, put in her car, and let her go on her way. Before she left, she promised that she'd come back and help him out. So next day, her boyfriend and her come back, and they give him like $160, and I think they paid for a room for him the night. It was a cold night. Well, what happened? The boyfriend was so impressed of this guy and his story, because after he went on Facebook, and he found some people where he used to be a paramedic, and you saw pictures of him. This guy was an ex-military, ex-vet. You guys see pictures of the guy the way he is now and then. Yeah. He was all clean cut. He was in good shape, and now you see him. He's got a bushy beard, and he's down on his luck. And so this boyfriend said, "I got to help this guy. This is this could be any one of us. He just hit a bad patch." And by last time I heard, which I believe is true, I didn't even know this. I thought they raised $10,000. Someone told me he got raised $368,000, which is great.
Yep,
it's great.
This one. He gave it all away.
Yeah, and he gave it all away and wants to help other people who are homeless. But
I hope he took some.
Yeah, he should take some of it to get himself on his feet. But my point of the story is, how is it you don't help a person like him, but you want to help these refugees who get everything for free? I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. When you hear stories like this, and here's the thing, Americans will always come and they're always going to do charity on their own. Liberals want to force charity down your throat, and they only want to do the charities they want to support. They don't really want to support guys like
the
this.
charities that they skim 96%
exactly.
off
Yeah,
the top.
they don't give any money to them, but that's what they do.
Well, we got to pay for this and this and this, and yeah, by the time the actual
Administrative costs,
the money gets there, it's like $4 out of 100.
Well, it's funny Sal said this because when you talk about the Clinton Foundation,
that's prime
someone had the nerve, a woman on my Facebook had the nerve that said the Clinton Foundation was the most charitable organization in the world. It's been proven. And I said, yeah, you're right. And she's like, I told you. I said, no, they're the most charitable to Bill and Hillary Clinton. they don't give a shit to whoever they're supposed to be giving money to. They don't give anything. Zero. So this is kind of the bullshit propaganda we face every day from these liberals who just spew garbage, man. It's ridiculous how bad it is out there and what they say on a daily basis.
Spray hate and identity politics.
That's
Try
it.
to split you up.
That's it.
Yeah.
What do you got? Anything else?
Yeah, it doesn't really go though.
No, go ahead. Tell me.
We got some time, right?
Yeah, we got a few minutes.
I was reading another actor today came out for Trump.
Yeah.
The thing, two of them actually did, but just think of the actors who are against Trump and the actors now coming out for Trump. All the actors who've had previous success and now have fallen really down, like previously established people, like higher ups, Cranston, Susan Sarandon, Denzel Washington now. Everyone who was making lots of money for being a star now is dried up.
Yeah.
And they know their only way back in is through Donald Trump and through a little bit of praise. Now, today, it was Denzel Washington saying to all black people and Black Lives Matter people, he goes, stop blaming the court system because it all starts at home.
Yeah,
like all the problems in our community started at home, not because of the judicial system. So I love it. Like, he knows. And to a degree, they all know. They just want to blame and be victims. That's it.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I don't know. I don't watch late night TV at all. I can't stand all those guys. But Bruce Willis came on with a MAGA hat on, and Jimmy Fallon was all bent out of shape.
Oh, I bet he was.
It was hilarious. Bruce Willis didn't give a shit. He was like, he was just like, he's like, yeah, man, President Trump's great. He's like, if you support, if you
Bruce
support
Willis actually making movies at least.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of funny to see this because it's when people wear this stuff, like these people in Hollywood act like the Wizard of Oz when they throw water on the witch. They're like, like they're like, yeah, melting. I can't take it. Like it's a hat, you fucking idiots. It's a hat. It doesn't offend anyone. Grow up. I'm tired of your belly aching and bitching and whining. Like act like an adults. It's ridiculous. But this is the funny stuff that you see. But yeah, they're still, some of them still can't give it up. I mean, the other day I heard something ridiculous that not the New York Post, the other one I hate, the Daily News. The Daily News had in the second page they had Donald Trump hit on Billy Baldwin's wife when she was single. What? Exactly. I'm like, what? Sound like I just said what at the same time. Like, what is Billy Baldwin just looking for a way to get back into the public eye?
The key words was when she was single,
right? I mean, he wasn't with this. I mean, Jesus Christ! Now you're worried about and she rejected him supposedly. And I think that's why they were writing it. That's what they said. But I'm like, who gives a shit? I mean, what are you talking about?
Statistically, you're successful. You get 3 hits out of 10. You're statistically successful. That goes for anything, really.
Well, it's just ridiculous that you're even meant. Like, why would someone at the New York Daily News even post something put something in their paper to disgrace? It's not even journalism. That won't even go in the National Enquirer. Matter of fact, the National Enquirer is a better piece of paper rag than the New York Daily News is. The New York Times, all those things, they all suck. Washington Post. They're a bunch of lying, and I'm not saying they're stupid people, but they're outwardly lying, and they know they're lying. They're getting paid to lie. They have no integrity. They have nothing. Journalism is dead. Anyway.
Beautiful. I got to watch these Project Veritas videos.
Yeah, so we're going to watch
out all this Washington Post.
And people, like I said, what Sal and I are going to do, which is a good idea Sal came up with, is if you guys have anything you want us to talk about, any questions you may have, it'll be kind of cool. We're going to do another show during the week, and we're just gonna do a Q&A.
We're gonna do a special Q&A.
Yeah,
and
so
we're gonna do it once a month at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start this month.
So if you guys have questions or you want to make comments, we could make it get kind of personal, because especially you know, you guys send a question, I know you, or tell a story about it, or even if on Facebook in the past you guys have given me a lot of good stuff, or we've communicated, or we've had some funny idiot liberal in common that we've argued with, like Jello. We could always talk about that. It'd be fun. We're gonna do that. So put it down there, and we'll get into it and save it, and we're gonna that'll be a great idea. We'll hit that. So with that being said, guys, my boy Sal, Gary Gabagoula, thanks. Oh, there's a big shout out to our boy Lou Calvillo, sweet Lou. Happy 53rd birthday, brother. 23rd birthday. Yes, 23rd. Peace. Enjoy, Lou. Peace out. What did we go? We went like an hour and...
I think we just went about an hour, maybe less, 50 minutes.